The Law of One Session 81, March 22, 1982.
Ra, I am Ra. I greet you in the love and in the light of the one infinite Creator. We communicate now.
Questioner, could you first please tell me the condition of the instrument?
Ra, I am Ra. The physical complex energy is in deficit at this particular space/time nexus due to prolonged psychic accentuation of pre-existing distortions. The remainder of the energy complex levels are as previously stated.
Questioner, is this the reason for the instrument's feeling of uninterrupted weariness?
Ra, I am Ra. There are portions of your space/time in which this may be said to be symptomatic of the psychic greeting reaction. However, the continual weariness is not due to psychic greeting but is rather an inevitable consequence of this contact.
Questioner, why is this an inevitable consequence? What is the mechanism of contact creating weariness?
Ra, I am Ra. The mechanism creating weariness is that connection betwixt the density wherein this instrument's mind/body/spirit complex is safely kept during these workings and the altogether variant density in which the instrument's physical body complex resides at this space/time. As the instrument takes on more of the coloration of the resting density, the third density experience seems more heavy and wearisome. This was accepted by the instrument, as it desired to be of service. Therefore, we accept also this effect about which nothing of which we are aware may be done.
Questioner, is the effect a function of the number of sessions, and has it reached a peak level or will it continue to increase in effect?
Ra, I am Ra. This wearying effect will continue but should not be confused with the physical energy levels, having only to do with the, as you would call it, daily round of experience. In this sphere those things which are known already to aid this instrument will continue to be of aid. You will, however, notice the gradual increase in transparency, shall we say, of the vibrations of the instrument.
Questioner, I didn't understand what you meant by that last statement. Would you explain?
Ra, I am Ra. Weariness of the time/space nature may be seen to be that reaction of transparent or pure vibrations with impure, confused, or opaque environs.
Questioner, is there any of this effect upon the other two of us in this group?
Ra, I am Ra. This is quite correct.
Questioner, then we would also experience the uninterrupted wearying effect as a consequence of the contact. Is this correct?
Ra, I am Ra. The instrument, by the very nature of the contact, bears the brunt of this effect. Each of the support group, by offering the love and the light of the one infinite Creator in unqualified support in these workings and in energy transfers for the purpose of these workings, experiences between 10 and 15%, roughly, of this effect. It is cumulative and identical in the continual nature of its manifestation.
Questioner, what could be the result of this continued wearying effect after a long period?
Ra, I am Ra. You ask a general query with infinite answers. We shall overgeneralize in order to attempt to reply. One group might be tempted and thus lose the very contact which caused the difficulty. So the story would end. Another group might be strong at first but not faithful in the face of difficulty. Thus the story would end. Another group might choose the path of martyrdom in its completeness and use the instrument until its physical body complex failed from the harsh toll demanded when all energy was gone. This particular group, at this particular nexus, is attempting to conserve the vital energy of the instrument. It is attempting to balance love of service and wisdom of service, and it is faithful to the service in the face of difficulty. Temptation has not yet ended this group's story. We may not know the future, but the probability of this situation continuing over a relatively substantial period of your space/time is large. The significant factor is the will of the instrument and of the group to serve. That is the only cause for balancing the slowly increasing weariness which will continue to distort your perceptions. Without this will, the contact might be possible but finally seem too much of an effort.
Questioner: the instrument would like to know why she has a feeling of increased vital energy.
Ra, I am Ra. We leave this answer to the instrument.
Questioner: she would like to know if she has an increased sensitivity to foods.
Ra, I am Ra. This instrument has an increased sensitivity to all stimuli. It is well that it use prudence.
Questioner: going back to the previous session, picking up on the 10th archetype, which is the catalyst of the body or the wheel of fortune, which represents interaction with other selves. Is this a correct statement?
Ra, I am Ra. This may be seen to be a roughly correct statement in that each catalyst is dealing with the nature of those experiences entering the energy web and vibratory perceptions of the mind/body/spirit complex. The most carefully noted addition would be that the outside stimulus of the wheel of fortune is that which offers both positive and negative experience.
Questioner: the 11th archetype, the experience of the body, represents the catalyst that has been processed by the mind/body/spirit complex and is called the enchantress because it produces further seed for growth. Is this correct?
Ra, I am Ra. This is correct.
Questioner: we have already discussed the significator, so I will skip to number 13. Transformation of body is called death, for with death the body is transformed to a higher vibration body for additional learning. Is this correct?
Ra, I am Ra. This is correct and may be seen to be additionally correct in that each moment and certainly each diurnal period of the bodily incarnation offers death and rebirth to one which is attempting to use the catalyst which is offered it.
Questioner: and finally, the 14th, the way of the body is called the alchemist because there is an infinity of time for the various bodies to operate within to learn the lessons necessary for evolution. Is this correct?
Ra, I am Ra. This is less than completely correct as the great way of the body must be seen, as are all the archetypes of the body, to be a mirror image of the thrust of the activity of the mind. The body is the creature of the mind and is the instrument of manifestation for the fruits of mind and spirit. Therefore, you may see the body as providing the aether through which the alchemist manifests gold.
Questioner: I have guessed that a way that I could enter into a better comprehension of the development experience that is central to our work, is to compare what we experience now, after the veil was dropped, with what was experienced prior to that time, starting possibly as far back as the beginning of this octave of experience, to see how we got into the condition we're in now. If this is agreeable, I would like to retreat to the very beginning of this octave of experience to investigate the conditions of mind, body, and spirit as they evolved in this octave. Is this satisfactory, acceptable?
Ra, I am Ra. The direction of questions is your provenance.
Questioner: Ra states that it has knowledge of only this octave, but it seems that Ra has complete knowledge of this octave. Can you tell me why this is?
Ra, I am Ra. Firstly, we do not have complete knowledge of this octave. There are portions of the seventh density which, although described to us by our teachers, remain mysterious. Secondly, we have experienced a great deal of the available refining catalyst of this octave, and our teachers have worked with us most carefully that we may be one with all, that in turn our eventual returning to the great allness of creation shall be complete.
Questioner, then Ra has knowledge from the first beginnings of this octave through its present experience as, what I might call direct or experiential knowledge through communication with those space/times and time/spaces, but has not yet evolved to or penetrated the seventh level. Is this a roughly correct statement?
Ra, I am Ra. Yes.
Questioner, why does Ra not have any knowledge of that which was prior to the beginning of this octave?
Ra, I am Ra. Let us compare octaves to islands. It may be that the inhabitants of an island are not alone upon a planetary sphere, but if an ocean-going vehicle in which one may survive has not been invented, true knowledge of other islands is possible only if an entity comes among the islanders and says, I am from elsewhere. This is a rough analogy. However, we have evidence of this sort, both of previous creation and creation to be, as we in the stream of space/time and time/space view these apparently non-simultaneous events.
Questioner, well, we presently find ourselves in the Milky Way galaxy of some 200 or so million 200 or so billion stars, and there are millions and millions of these large galaxies spread out through what we call space. To Ra's knowledge, I assume, the number of these galaxies is infinite. Is this correct?
Ra, I am Ra. This is precisely correct and is a significant point.
Questioner, the point being that we have unity. Is that correct?
Ra, I am Ra. You are perceptive.
Questioner, then what portion of these galaxies is Ra aware of? Has Ra experienced consciousness in many other of these galaxies?
Ra, I am Ra. No.
Questioner, does Ra have any experience or knowledge of or travel to, in one form or another, any of these other galaxies?
Ra, I am Ra. Yes.
Questioner, it's unimportant, but just roughly how many other of these galaxies has Ra, shall we say, traveled to?
Ra, I am Ra. We have opened our hearts in radiation of love to the entire creation. Approximately 90% of the creation is at some level aware of the sending and able to reply. All of the infinite logoi are one in the consciousness of love. This is the type of contact which we enjoy rather than travel.
Questioner, so that I can just get a little idea of what I am talking about, what are the limits of Ra's travel in the sense of directly experiencing or seeing the activities of various places? Is it solely within this galaxy, and if so, how much of this galaxy? Or does it include some other galaxies?
Ra, I am Ra. Although it would be possible for us to move at will throughout the creation within this logos, that is to say, the Milky Way galaxy, so-called, we have moved where we were called to service, these locations being, shall we say, local and including Alpha Centauri, planets of your solar system which you call the Sun, Cepheus, and Zeta Reticuli. To these sub-logoi we have come, having been called.
Questioner, was the call in each instance from the third density beings, or was this call from additional or other densities?
Ra, I am Ra. In general, the latter supposition is correct. In the particular case of the Sun sub-logos, third density is the density of calling.
Questioner, Rothan has not moved at any time into one of the other major galaxies. Is this correct?
Ra, I am Ra. This is correct.
Questioner, does Ra have knowledge of, say, any other major galaxy or the consciousness or anything in that galaxy?
Ra, I am Ra. We assume you are speaking of the possibility of knowledge of other major galaxies. There are wanderers from other major galaxies drawn to the specific needs of a single call. There are those among our social memory complex which have become wanderers in other major galaxies. Thus there has been knowledge of other major galaxies, for to one whose personality or mind/body/spirit complex has been crystallized, the universe is one place and there is no bar upon travel. However, our interpretation of your query was a query concerning the social memory complex traveling to another major galaxy. We have not done this, nor do we contemplate it, for we can reach in love with our hearts.
Questioner, thank you. In this line of questioning I am trying to establish a basis for understanding the foundation for not only the experience that we have now but how the experience was formed and how it is related to all the rest of the experience through the portion of the octave as we understand it. I am assuming, then, that all of these galaxies, millions, infinite number of galaxies which we can just begin to become aware of with our telescopes, they are all of the same octave. Is this correct?
Ra, I am Ra. This is correct.
Questioner, I was wondering if, in that some of the wanderers from Ra going to the other major galaxies, that is, leaving this system of 200+ billion stars of lenticular shape and going to another cluster of billions of stars and finding their way to some planetary situation there, would any of these wanderers encounter the dual polarity that we have here, both the service to self and the service to others polarity?
Ra, I am Ra. This is correct.
Questioner, now, you stated earlier that toward the center of this galaxy, I believe, would, to use a poor term, you could call the older portion, you would find no service to self-polarization, but, that this was what you might call, a later experience. Am I correct in assuming that this is true of the other galaxies with which wanderers from Ra have experience? That at the center of these galaxies only the service to others polarity existed and the experiment started farther out toward the rim of the galaxy?
Ra, I am Ra. Various logoi and sub-logoi had various methods of arriving at the discovery of the efficiency of free will and intensifying the experience of the Creator by the Creator. However, in each case this has been a pattern.
Questioner, you mean then that the pattern is that the service to self-polarization appeared farther out from the center of the galactic spiral?
Ra, I am Ra. This is correct.
Questioner, from this I will assume that at the beginning of the octave we had the core, with many galactic spirals forming, and I know this is incorrect in the sense of timelessness, but as the spiral formed then I am assuming that in this particular octave the experiment then must have started somewhat, roughly, simultaneously in many of the budding or building galactic systems by the experiment of the veiling in extending the free will. Am I in any way correct with this assumption?
Ra, I am Ra. You are precisely correct. This instrument is unusually fragile at this space/time and has used much of the transferred energy. We would invite one more full query for this working.
Questioner, actually, I don't have much more on this except to make the assumption that there must have been some type of communication throughout the octave so that, when the first experiment became effective, The knowledge of this then spread rapidly through the octave and was picked up by other budding galactic spirals, you might say. Is this correct?
Ra, I am Ra. This is correct. To be aware of the nature of this communication is to be aware of the nature of the Logos. Much of what you call creation has never separated from the one Logos of this octave and resides within the one infinite Creator. Communication in such an environment is the communication of cells of the body. That which is learned by one is known to all. The sub-logoi, then, have been in the position of refining the discoveries of what might be called the earlier sub-logoi. May we ask if we may answer any brief queries at this working?
Questioner, only if there is anything we can do to make the instrument more comfortable or improve the contact.
Ra, I am Ra. It is difficult to determine the energy levels of the instrument and support group. Of this we are aware. It is, however, recommended that every attempt be made to enter each working with the most desirable configurations of energy possible. All is well, my friends. You are conscientious and the alignments are well. I am Ra. I leave you in the love and the light of the one infinite Creator. Go forth, therefore, rejoicing in the power and in the peace of the infinite Creator. Adonai.